Hello, hello, hello! Okay, look, my name's Andrew. I'm an actor in New York, and today, instead of putting out one of my acting videos, the ones where I give myself a singular day to learn a monologue or scene and put it out on the internet, because I'm insane. Look, if you want to see me act, go watch one of those videos. Tell me in the comments you want more things like that. Come see me at the theater or an upcoming festival where I've had actual time to prepare for a role. Look, I do have theater and film festival stuff coming, but we can talk about that later, okay? Today, I'm here to talk about this new series on HBO. What is it? The Last Humans? No, The Last Peoples? The Last of Us? The Last of Us. Okay, yeah, I was close. Look, I wanted to do a joint feature exploring both the game and the show at the same time, but I don't own a Sony device. Yeah, no, I don't. And the game doesn't come to PC until March 3rd, So I'm just left. As an actor, I wanted to look at some of the acting choices made throughout the series and talk about them with you. So let's jump right in, yeah? Okay. Look, okay. The show opens in 1968 with this televised epidemiology discussion, which, God, in our timeline, we have only just come to realize is a thing, but, in this world, they've been on the lookout for COVID for decades. Lucky them. Honestly, I wonder if their warehouses had actual medical supplies in them instead of just being empty. Remember that? Ugh. Okay, look, one quick note about this scene is the audience. Each and every one has this dead look in their eyes, numb to the discussion. It's fair, I'd be bored too. Imagine thinking you're headed to the filming of Laugh In and getting stuck here. Oh, God. So from a directorial standpoint, the acting choice works very well, okay? But it also sets up this great idea of the masses, the drones, the NPCs all working as one, moving towards one direct goal in front of them. Okay, another thing that I love about this is John Hannah and Christopher Heidel. Their subtle, nonverbal communications and reactions to each other's comments are beautiful. And I'm so thankful this is shot wide so we get to see their acting on full display. Look, so many beginner actors don't realize that acting is more than just saying your lines and then waiting for the next opportunity to speak. The way another actor delivers a line can and should impact your delivery. Actors need to feed energy to each other and the camera to deliver a truly captivating performance. And that's what's happening. Okay, from the beginning, we see John Hannah isn't unnerved by the idea of a pandemic due to viruses at all. It all kind of bores him. And then, while discussing the potential of fungus, we see the reactions of Christopher Heidel. He is dismayed and confused and saddened at the truly callous remarks of his colleague. We also have the lovely John Brenner, okay, acting as the host of this show. He's doing something wonderful and simple, which is using his pen. If you'll notice, he has no notepad around him, so the pen is there for some other purpose. Through the pen, he's able to convey his frustration while asking questions, I'm not doing what you think I'm doing, okay? Get that out of your minds. He's able to direct the audience attention to speakers depending on who he's asking. He's also able to funnel his nervous energy into the pen by spinning it, the way any office worker would in an uncomfortable meeting. The pen makes him a more interesting participant in their conversation. He becomes someone you want to look at, instead of just a prop for the scene. And at the end of the discussion, you can feel how nervous he is by the breaking in his voice as he delivers his last two lines.
So if that happens...
The thought of a fungal invasion terrifies him more than a virus.
We'll be back.
Meanwhile, the audience is still sitting there like nothing happened. These guys, okay? Moving on, we're jumping to 2003, where we immediately fall in love with Sarah, played by Nico Parker. This was their goal, and they achieved it, right? Okay, this child has to step up, probably maturing far faster than her peers. Many shows play with the dynamic of hierarchy within the house, between parental units and child units, and this is one of them. Nico is playing a child that must help take care of the home, allowing Joel, played by Pedro Pascal, to focus on his physically intensive job, thus keeping the family financially afloat. Now, I loved this moment of Sarah handing OJ to her father. The shot composition is beautiful. She's ready with the OJ as he turns around, insisting that he drinks it. Joel's got this look on his face like, really, Mom? Okay. And through much of their banter, I totally get this dynamic, right? They have this awkward father-daughter banter about her homework. Joel is attempting to act as the role of the father, but in many ways, Sarah is taking care of him. All of this is very in line with Sarah's driving want, or action for the scene, and probably her overall want too. So, look, a want is usually framed as what does character A want character B to do? Yeah, put down in the comments what you think it would be, okay? Because my best guess is that Sarah wants Joel to be around to celebrate her birthday with him. With her. Whatever. Look, okay, the OJ, the eggshells so he gets his vitamins, the pancakes so they can eat something that's really outside of the norm for them. This diaper comment, I mean, come on. She wants him to stick around till old age. And it all leads to this pain in her voice when he decides he has to work late that night.
Literally, today.
Oh no, I'll be done by 9.
Look, all of these early scenes set up the dynamic Joel has with other characters. The protector, the provider, the father. The one thing I find interesting is the hierarchy, which gets flipped by the end of the episode. And we'll get into that later, okay? Look, I don't have much to say about this scene, but Nana convulsing, just out of focus in this shot, is both terrifying and really beautiful. Because as someone that's not familiar with the franchise, I don't know what's coming. I don't know the type of mutations, if any. What type of zombie we're dealing with. Are they runners? Are they stumblers? I have no clue. But I will say that dogs always know what's up, okay? I need to get myself a dog, all right? Also, this dog deserves an Oscar because later he's like scraping at the windows and I'm getting flashbacks to other zombie-based properties where people are pressed against glass begging to be let in. But this is a dog, so, I'm going to nominate him here. Vote for him. Vote dog. I don't know his name. It wasn't in the IMDb. All right. The next scene is fairly quick as Sarah leaves the Adler house. And, honestly, it showcases that Sarah is still a child at heart. She leaves her neighbor's house and she runs her hand through the sprinkler. It's this wonderful little moment that gives us a bit more to her character. She's not fully grown. She still has this childlike play in her. It's also something I haven't done since I was a kid. And side note, I haven't seen sprinklers like this in ages. Normally when I walk past them now in the city, I'm like, water, get away. But I used to run back and forth through these things with other neighborhood kids. This is a good time, okay? I've seen other people talk about this scene where Nana Adler is biting and infecting Mrs. Adler, so I won't go into too much detail either. But I will say that I love the image of the fungus reaching and separating as she looks up to Sarah. It just encapsulates this idea that the fungus's main drive is to spread, not necessarily to feed and potentially destroy this new host body like many other zombie franchises do. It's also shown to us earlier that Nana Adler refuses to eat, so maybe there's something there. Okay, look, this scene is brilliant as well, okay? I know I've said that a lot. As Sarah and the audience watch Joel kill for the first time, Sarah is shocked, tears streaming down her face. The father she thought she knew, killing her, albeit slightly annoying neighbor. With little to no hesitation, Joel steps up to protect his daughter, but Joel is shocked by his own actions and has to drop his only weapon. Now, from a needing to survive the apocalypse standpoint, not a good move. Okay, so how can it be a good move as an actor? Many of the decisions actors have to make real-world sense, even if we don't think they do. But that's the privilege of an audience, We don't hindsight and whatever. Joel now has to turn around, console, and explain his actions to his daughter. So it kind of does, The weapon becomes an obstacle, His main want shifts from Joel wants Sarah to get in the truck to Joel wants Sarah to accept his actions were necessary to protect her. So that weapon was still in his hand. That becomes a lot more difficult. Her focus may be on the weapon and not on his words. So drop it. Get rid of it. Now, this scene is also fascinating due to this juxtaposition between Sarah's reaction and Ellie's reaction later in the episode, where one is scared, the other is, excited, okay? Ellie's reaction hits so much harder and is made so much clearer thanks to Sarah's earlier in the episode. Both girls can't believe someone would do something so aggressive to protect them. But where Sarah has never needed this type of protection and this shift scares her, Ellie has never seen this type of protection, but really needed it. And that's what lights her up. It's that simple fact that someone would actually go that far for her. It's great. Okay, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit now to the year 2023. Yay, the one we're in. Okay, we follow this child as they enter the QZ in Boston. And I love this little production detail, okay? Repurposing streetlights to signal when the doors are opening and closing. It's kind of brilliant. Anyway, we meet with Khadija Roberts Abdul, credited as kind Fedra officer. It's a small part, but she plays it so well. Her vocal quality is gentle and soothing as she speaks to this child, explaining the procedures, almost tricking you, the audience, that all of these things are really for the child, when in fact they're done to protect other Fedra agents. Now, this blink and you'll miss it moment as she sees the infected status on the child is heartbreaking. As an actor, you have to ask yourself in that moment, what route do you go down? Is it harsh and uncaring, or do you attempt to ease this child's pain? Khadija's acting is brilliant. The little smile to hide her disappointment, the little swelling of tears as she attempts to keep her voice steady. I really feel for this woman. Like the hope she must have been feeling seeing a kid come through the waste. Of course, that said, this moment is also written into the show for the audience as an introduction to Fedra. It attempts to make them seem like the good guys. Unfortunately, organizations like this one rarely are the good guys in shows like this. Just saying. Then we're reintroduced to Joel, taking some of the hardest jobs in the QZ for both rations and maybe to get access to different smuggling routes in and out of Boston, through these sewers. Just a guess. I don't know. Look, we left Joel cradling the body of Sarah as she died, unable to let go. Honestly, it was a weird moment for me because the camera cut away from Sarah's moment of death. Look, and I'm not bloodthirsty, okay? It left me unfulfilled in a weird way, But there's probably something to that, and we'll get to that. Okay, what were we talking about? Right. Joel being reintroduced as this man that can dispose of a child's body, carrying and dropping the kid from the previous scene into the fire, completely devoid of emotion. Joel! And the show does an incredible job showing this journey without showing you the journey. Even including this little nod to Sarah's previous joke about selling hard drugs, here we see yet another way Joel has changed during this time. His matter-of-fact delivery to, then what would you do? To a threat against his life. It really depicts the numbness he has to his surroundings. Even though this Fedra agent could easily have him hung, like the previous offenders, for leaving the QZ, getting drugs. But that's the trouble with addiction, right? It becomes the number one thing in your life, and you don't even know that it is. It overtakes everything. So kids, really, don't do drugs, okay? Please. Now, this scene's lighting is awesome. Honestly, it reminds me of a short film a couple friends and I made for a film festival. It has great natural lighting from these two windows and one bright yellow bulb in the middle, creating this bright spot on Robert, because the show is again playing with the idea of hierarchy. Robert, who you would think holds all the cards, doesn't. Sure, he's got these two young bloods surrounding Tess, trying to look tough. Especially this one, okay? It kind of looks like I do when I want to look tough. Just a little awkward, not necessarily tough. But he's scared. He knows he effed up, and he's in the limelight, trying to get out. Now, his action in this scene is probably something like to get a second chance, to get a guarantee. Right, in action. For me and how I was trained, it's usually framed as some simple goal that can be recognizable to anybody, in their body language, their vocal quality. It's a way to embody a specific energy for a scene. And it can make a scene more interesting to watch because you kind of have the ability to play with it sometimes, Sometimes you can go a little counter to what you think the scene is. Kind of like this one, And that's what Brendan Fletcher is playing with, and he's doing. He's not scared of Tess, he's scared of Joel. And he knows Tess can save him. Robert actually succeeds too in his action and want, but we don't get to see much of his success because that wall comes caving right in. Okay. Again, we as the audience are not privy to the violence in the scene. We just see Tess's black eyes and blood. But it's hinted, especially, that Joel is particularly violent and cruel. It's not directly spelled out, except when Tess likens him to Clint Eastwood, here. But, I guess maybe he has this lone cowboy seeking vengeance and justice type of vibe, or maybe he's just an icon, an example of masculinity within the QZ that everyone is trying to strive for, even Robert. We'll never know. But I'm honestly hoping my girlfriend starts making me the little spoon, kind of like he was, But this is a very interesting scene too, where we get to see an opportunity of actors doing things. Like Tess could have just delivered many of her lines from the table. Stop, Joel, don't go. But as an actor, she needed to get up, to go to him, to stop him, coming between him and the door, stopping his hands from grabbing his gun. It makes it more difficult to go and kill Robert. It makes the scene more compelling too. We get to see her character chase him and hold him down. It also allows for more intimate camera work, with these close-up, over-the-shoulder, dirty shots. Now, another note, right? Beginner actors in a scene like this will attempt to lock eyes onto their co-star, making their eyes dart from side to side. Woo! Now, you may have noticed something similar when you're speaking to someone up close. And when that camera is that close, it's going to pick up those subtle shifts. Now, Michael Caine talks about this in many of his master classes. Now, he suggests looking at the eye closest to camera. And I've tried it, and this technique works, okay? And I can't tell if Pedro Pascal and Anna Trav are doing this, or if they have a point of focus just off the edge of their co-star's face. Now, this is another tool used, and it's called cheating focus. It's used in film to help the camera get as much of an actor's face as possible. It really lets you in, okay? Now, this scene is difficult as an actor, but it's also kind of extremely simple in a way. Our entire job relies on this skill, because as an actor, you know what's coming. You've staged this with a director. You've been asked to turn here, shine your light here on this wall, and boom, oh my God, there's a reveal. Ooh. Okay, and unless you're Tom Holland filming Marvel, you probably always know what's happening next in the story. So take after take, or performance after performance, it might become stale. You might have a harder time delivering that believable surprise performance. And audiences will remember that you're in a staged environment. One of the best tools I've been given for this is to begin thinking the exact opposite event will happen. Whatever is staged, whatever surprise is coming, you have to, as a character, believe it's not going to happen. You have to think the opposite. Now, side note, this is my first time seeing the effects of the fungus on the human body, and whoo, I love it, okay? The details as it grows, crawling up the wall in search of its next host. I'm left wondering if you can still get infected by this thing. Do you touch it, rub your eye? No, it probably does it. But look, I also wonder if you're going to explore the idea of the QZs not being as safe as advertised. I don't know. Look, again, Tess and Joel stumble upon the violence, right? They stumble on the dead bodies of Firefly's and Robert's crew. I don't know if they have a gang name, but the payoff is worth it as Joel beats the living crap out of this Fedra agent to protect his surrogate daughter in the final scene. Now, I kind of touched on that earlier, so let's actually talk about this exchange between Marlene, Kim, Joel, Tess, about escorting Ellie out of Boston. This little moment between Marlene and Kim, Marlene is clearly feeling some kind of way about Kim, undermining her plans in the earlier scene. It's also an interesting moment as an actor, because your want is directed towards Joel and Tess. So you have to ask yourself if Kim is a hindrance or a helper to achieving your want. Her tone and body language tell me everything I need to know, okay? Kim is a hindrance, and she needs to be put in her place, which is another action, right? To put someone in their place. It's very recognizable. But that isn't Marlene's action throughout the scene. It can't be, since deciding to send Ellie and Joel with Tess, deciding to send Ellie with Joel and Tess, no new information has come up, so there's no real opportunity to shift her wants and actions. She simply has to respond to Kim within the set guidelines, which is informed by the previous scene and the current one. Ellie is also a hindrance to Marlene's goal, and that's evident in this look here. Okay? But right after Joel and Tess agree to take Ellie, Marlene's want shifts. She now is focused on Ellie, and her vocal tone shifts. She is not making a deal anymore so much as trying to get Ellie to seize a great opportunity, to leave, to be safe. It's really a masterful piece of acting, and it's beautiful. Whew, look, I wasn't expecting to do an almost scene-by-scene breakdown of this episode, but here we are. Look, I'm going to try and get episode 2 done in the next couple of days, so stay tuned. And, God, what is it every YouTuber says?